For Donald Trump, every day is kind of a grievance Groundhog Day. It seems he gets up every day, gripes about the election, then wakes up the next day, still a loser. After airing his complaints about the election in his Easter message and in a recent wedding toast, Trump kept up the theme at an RNC donor retreat last night. According to a person in the room, he called the results BS, slammed his own vice president for certifying them, and then said, and this is a direct quote, we can put this up on screen, unfortunately, if that were Schumer instead of that dumb son of a bitch, Mitch McConnell, they would never have allowed it to happen, end quote. That is the former president of the United States. The comments, by the way, were met with applause. What a retreat indeed. Joining me now, CNN senior political analyst John Avlon and CNN political commentator and host of PBS Firing Line, Margaret Hoover. Margaret, let me go to you first. This is who Republicans are flocking to right now. Trump just won't give it up.
I don't know how much Republicans are flocking to him. I mean, certainly Mitch McConnell isn't. Mitch McConnell's got his eye on 2022. So Mitch, operative as always, is trying to do the thing he can to maximize his chances of winning back power. But notice that was a Republican National Committee retreat, and they all had to go to him. He's not working to call and keep activated the Republican base. I mean, the fact that he thinks it's in his interest to have taken his visage away from their ability to fundraise. But he's going to find that if you're a president out of power, your power wanes pretty quickly, and we're seeing that with Donald Trump. So I am not so sure this is his formula for coming back or, frankly, regaining power.
No.
And John, yeah, what's your take on it?
I mean, first of all, I think you get points for coming up with grievance Groundhog Day. I think that's first rate. Look, you know,
Bill Murray references are always welcome on this program.
The shtick is wearing thin even among donors. You know, there were reportedly applause when he talked about how he thought the Republicans were going to take the House in 22 and the White House in 24. But when he's railing against Mitch McConnell and repeating the big lie, this is a shtick that's starting to fall flat because it's just more narcissism and more grievance and more negative partisanship, and that's all he's got to offer. And folks in the Republican Party know, even if they get that he's popular with the base, that divisive message isn't going to help. The question is whether people like Mitch McConnell will stop sort of playing footsie with the Stockholm syndrome and actually come out and say, no, he should not be the nominee in 2024. Just draw a clear line in the sand. It's not like they've got any rational excuse other than fear.
Mitch McConnell should do what Liz Cheney did, which is explicitly say he shouldn't be doing that by calling the election a fraud and continuing to propagate the big lie. He's not for the Constitution. He's undermining the Constitution. He's undermining the rule of law and our judicial system, and that is against the premise of the founding of this country. Yeah. And we need to be for the Constitution. I mean, we need way more of Liz Cheney and way less of Donald Trump.
Well, we'll see about that. And speaking of there is no bottom, the Anti-Defamation League is publicly calling for Fox's Tucker Carlson to be fired after his remarks about the white supremacist so-called replacement theory. Let's take a listen to this.
I know that the left and all the little gatekeepers on Twitter become literally hysterical if you use the term replacement, if you suggest that the Democratic Party is trying to replace the current electorate, the voters now casting ballots, with new people, more obedient voters from the third world. If you change the population, you dilute the political power of the people who live there. So every time they import a new voter, I become disenfranchised as a current voter. So I don't understand why we don't understand this. I mean, everyone wants to make a racial issue out of it. Ooh, the white replacement theory. No. This is a voting rights question.
John, is Fox going to do anything about this?
No, but they should, and here's why. When Tucker says that people want to make a racial issue out of this great replacement theory, you know who wanted to make a racial issue out of the great replacement theory? The El Paso mass shooter, who drove hundreds of miles to target Hispanics at a Walmart. This bile has been bubbling up. It has been encouraged. But when you have someone who's got that kind of a platform trying to dignify replacement theory, ADL was 100% right to call it out. And I want to recommend Phil Bump wrote a great piece about this in the Washington Post, where he talked about Tucker Carlson's ancestor, a guy named Lombardi, who came Swiss German, came here, and the discrimination he and Italians faced at the time because they were not considered white. They were considered diluting the racial purity of America at the time and taking away votes and influence from folks whose family had been here for longer generations. So Tucker should look in the mirror. He should look at who's been echoing replacement theory. And if he knows it already, which he might, that makes it all the worse.
And Margaret, I want to
just
get you
say
to
one
Matt
other thing?
Gaetz.
You know-
Well, okay.
No, go to Matt Gaetz.
I want to shift gears while we can. We've got a little bit of time left to shift over to Matt Gaetz. He's resisting calls to resign amid a sex trafficking investigation. I spoke to former Democratic Congresswoman Katie Hill last hour. As you know, she resigned after nude photos of her with a staffer were leaked online. She highlighted not just the difference between men and women in these scenarios, which there appears to be a big difference, but also between Republicans and Democrats. Let's listen.
In men's case in general, when they are faced with this kind of scandal, we just see over and over again that they deny, and they refuse to apologize, and they wait it out. The difference between Republicans and Democrats is that Democrats at least want to hold our people to high standards. Then the GOP just circles the wagons and says, you know, they're our people, we're going to protect them, and that's that.
Margaret, is she wrong?
No, she's not. She's exactly right. I just want to say there was a curious case of Matt Gaetz defending Katie Hill when her case came out. And at the time, if you roll the tape, I am quite sure on CNN I said, sounds like Matt Gaetz is laying the foundation for his future defense right now, which is exactly what's happened. She's exactly right. I mean, if you know Matt Gaetz, look, where there's smoke, there's probably fire. Of course, we believe in due process. Let's see what the investigation finds. But I am not confident that since Donald Trump's attorney general wanted to be seen nowhere near Matt Gaetz in a photograph, that this is probably not going to end well for Matt Gaetz. She's right, though. Nancy Pelosi really leaned on her to resign, and she resigned. She did the right thing. That was the appropriate thing. That is the thing that bestows dignity on the office, that you respect the office and you respect the integrity of the electors who put you there and their decency. And that's, if this ends up in that direction, Matt Gaetz absolutely should resign swiftly.
And John, I mean, we're kind of getting to this point where it's like nobody resigns now. Everybody just says, yeah, I'm just going to hang in there and I'm not going to resign no matter what. I mean, Katie Hill is kind of an anomaly in that.
She is, and she's right in saying the Democrats exerted pressure. I mean, Al Franken resigned, of course, but I think a lot of folks regretted that action, not least Mr. Franken. Look, this is about toughing it out in politics, but what's particularly odious is the way folks who've been credibly accused project and deflect and then play the victim card, which is what Matt Gaetz did this weekend. He's all of a sudden the victim for being under investigation, for sex trafficking and other claims that the Trump Justice Department did. And that's what I think speaks to the deeper sickness in our politics. It's this play the victim after you've been credibly accused and see if you could raise some more money from the base.
Incredible. Matt Gaetz playing the victim. I think that's putting it best right there. All right, John, Margaret, great to have the Hoovel on once again. Thanks so much. We appreciate it. Great talking to both of you.
Take care. Have a great weekend.
Be well.